All right, Evan Turner, before we get into the show, I have one question for you.
Yes.
When in your playing days, how well did you know Reggie Bullock?
I did not know him too well. I knew him for like a great shooter. Actually, I knew a couple North Carolina kids that always said he was a cool guy, but we actually never crossed paths. But the people that I was cool with always said he was a great guy.
Okay, so I'm asking because if you've seen the clip that's going around social media of Reggie Bullock, who years ago, I guess, bought an island in Belize and said he was going to turn it into a resort, and I guess he actually did it.
Yeah.
He's got it up and running. Bought this island for like $2 million in Belize and turned it into Bullock Island down there. Like, look, I've heard of like the uber rich doing that, the max contract guys doing something like that.
Yeah.
Reggie Bullock was a shooter for hire, and he's buying islands and putting his stamp on it, man.
No, I love it, man. I love it. Sometimes, we always argue about the middle of the pack players doing some big time things because y'all only talk about Chris Paul, Steph, all these people buying companies. But it's like, hey, bro, shout out to the middle of the pack guys. Like, dudes actually had a dream. Like, not even so much like hoopers, but like, he had a dream, he followed through, and it's actually beautiful. So I'm kind of jealous. I'm like, man, like, usually people try to show you land in those pole dunk areas. Not shout out to Belize. And it's like, oh yeah, I might buy it, but he actually turned it up. I'm not mad at him. And being an adult, I kind of wish I would have bought me a little island just so I can disappear away to. So he's genius, man. Many snaps. I actually want to. We should try to go out there and we should try to do a pod from there.
I'm into it. I've never been to Belize. I've certainly never been to Bullock Island. I'm all for going out to Bullock Island. I wonder
if they got merch. If they got merch, I will buy every piece of merch.
I would buy a piece of merch from Bullock Island. I mean, Reggie Bullock, I looked it up. I mean, he made good money in his career, like $50 million in career earnings. He had a couple of $10 million per year contracts, but like not generational wealth that you've seen some of these other guys do. And he takes his loot and he goes down and buys a plot of land near Belize and builds a resort. Props to Reggie Bullock, man. Props to you.
Yeah, shout out. Hey, man, build your never land. Make yourself king. Hey, I'm not mad at you.
All right. Before we get into some of the stuff I want to talk about, I also got to ask you about what you've seen from Nikola Jokic this week. Drops 55 on the Clippers the other night. And two things that impressed me. One was he had 50 like late in the third quarter, so he had already racked up the points. Two, like the Clippers have good defenders in their front court. Ivica Zubac is one of the best defenders in the middle. Brook Lopez has been a really good defender for a lot of years in this league. Ty Lue basically said going into that game, he's like, we can't let Jokic beat us with a pass, which is a pretty smart strategy. He's leading the damn NBA in assists right now.
Yeah.
We're going to let him beat us scoring, and oh boy, he could still do that, ET. Like 55 points against the Clippers is something else.
Yeah, no, unbelievable. Jokic is somebody that I just been like, but there's no way this can keep going. Like I became a believer after like the second MVP foolishly, but even then I'm just like, there's no way he could just keep doing this. This makes absolutely no sense. He's not beating people with speed. He's not beating them with athleticism. It's just sheer skill. But like to get 55 points and like even last year get a 50-point triple-double, it's like to mix 55 points and 10 assists together is absolutely crazy. Doing it at like a snail pace. His PER is up there with some of the best ever in history. Like he's arguably one. He doesn't need another MVP award. We just need to start fully switching over, just saying his name in a different way, like addressing him in a completely different tone because he just keeps getting better and better. And how he handles his business as a professional is something that's very rare too. And man, he got a lot of killers scared. Like we're in the height of like NBA talent of all time, and what he's doing right now in an athletes league is just unbelievable. He's whew, man, that man's unreal. I don't even know who to compare. I don't know what else to say about him. Like who to compare him to. He's in a class of his own.
I mean, he's got 3 MVPs. He could have had another one last year. Like his numbers last year were better than they were during his MVP seasons. Like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander quite literally needed the most flawless season of his career to, team and individual player wise, to strip that award away from Jokic. I guess I'm wondering, like, at what point, like, how many accolades does he need to accrue before we start talking about him as far as being on the Mount Rushmore of the greatest players ever? Not just of this generation, but the greatest players ever. It's a guy that's in his early 30s and is barreling towards a fourth MVP, barreling towards, potentially at least a conference finals trip, maybe even another championship. I don't know. Like, we got to be getting close to having a conversation about putting him in the same echelon as a Bill Russell, a Michael Jordan, a LeBron James. Like, he's doing it on an individual and team level.
Absolutely. I think if he gets one more, I'm good on MVPs. He doesn't have to get another MVP, to be completely honest with you. Like, if he wants space for it, cool. But like, what's understood is that have to be explained. LeBron didn't need another one. Steph Curry didn't need another one. It's a couple people where you're like, bruh, we get it. Like, just give it to somebody else that was really trying hard. I think when it comes to championships, you can't knock out, even if you want to kill LeBron's bubble championship, which I don't. It's like he has 4 rings. MJ had 6. You know what I mean? We have a lot of super winners, but for individual accolades, and I comprehend how hard it is to win a championship, he may never get to 5 or 6, but let's just say if he gets one more, I mean, numbers, stats, everything alone, and what he was able to do coming from Serbia, second-round pick, to bumping up and getting, Denver right back cracking to a high level. I mean, his global influence is unbelievable. I mean, alone, you're going to have to discuss it because look, if you go back to his 10 best games, you're going to be like, this is a joke. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you go to his 10 greatest games ever, is going to be a joke. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's and we don't even comprehend like his full IQ that's on display as well. And
doing it without a all-star alongside him. Like, without an all-star.
But they keep doing my man Jamal Murray dirty. Like, the past 5 or 6 years. And the West is crazy. I'm not knocking it. I just always want to give Jamal Murray his credit because it's like, past few years, he still averages 21-7, shoots 44 from the field, 35, 36 from the 3. And you ask any defense, anybody, one thing that makes that offense so scary is one of the best 2-man giving goals in history. Those dudes can play a whole 2-man game and go tell the coach to sit down. You know what I mean? And like, literally, Jamal Murray, the second Jokic takes a break, he's like, all right, perfect. Let me go on a 10-0 run by myself. Sometimes we kind of sit back. It's almost like the Drew Holiday thing. You look back on it like, bro, this dude I know he's really good, but he was unbelievably good,
Yeah. It's proof that you don't need to have that second great player if you've got a bunch of guys that are really good and play really well together. Aaron Gordon is on that list, like a picture-perfect fit alongside him. Michael Porter Jr., say what you want about him, but they won a championship with MPJ. As a wing there. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope was outstanding in his years in Denver and kind of not so much since he's left the Nuggets. They've got just incredible chemistry. And you're right, their 2-man game with Murray and Jokic is as close to unstoppable as you can get. So I think it's going to be really hard to take the MVP away from him this year, even though he doesn't need it. I think you're right. I think he's going to win it either way. I just think it's tough.
Because even when you look at the time when they took, quote unquote, they took LeBron's MVPs and were giving them like the D Rose and these other guys.
Well, that's because everybody was pissed at LeBron for leaving Cleveland, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. But like, those numbers were still relatively close. Like, these numbers are like, I mean, Shai hooped like 88 Mike last year, you know what I mean? And won at a high level, but like,
he's doing it again this year, by the way.
Absolutely. Unbelievable. But like, Jokic is averaging like a 30-something point triple, like a triple. He doesn't move fast. Like, it doesn't make. How are you getting all this work done in 48 minutes? Like, at what point? It's the IQ, the game, everything is unbelievable. And like, I was the biggest Jokic hater, but like, it's unfair. It's actually unfair.
You were a Jokic hater?
Back in the day, I didn't mind Jokic. I like Jokic a lot. I thought his game was so good. I thought he was super nice. So I also just like, brother, I don't understand how he's doing it. I just didn't comprehend it. You know what I mean? Like, just really didn't understand it. I was kind of hating on his defense. This is around 2019, 2020, like around there where I'm like kind of hating on it. But no, he's unbelievable. I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, he's special, man. I think my question is, how does Jokic exit the NBA? Like, does he just mic drop at the end of one season and be like, you know what, I just want to go back to racing horses all over Europe? Like, is that going to be his exit?
I just think he goes over and just doesn't come back. And then, like, people are looking for him, and it's just like he just keeps hiding from the media or something like that. Yeah. I just think he doesn't come back. Like, literally just his contract was up. He doesn't tell anybody anything. He's just like, oh, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, think about it. I mean, I'm sure he could do a lot with the money, but does he really need another $300 million? Like, probably not, the way he lives his life, I'm guessing. Unless he's lost so much money on horse racing that he needs more. But as far as I know, I think he's in good shape.
Yeah, we got to stop doing this one thing. One of my homies had to say, like, we got to stop making this narrative where we think white dudes don't need money. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Or like when we sit down and say, he got horses. Like, bro, horses cost millions of dollars. Like, it might not be cars or chains, but you doing some, like, hood shit. So when you understand that, it's like, all right, bro, and you come back bigger than that thing. If you not hood, your brothers are definitely, they got some tendencies. So that money's getting eaten. So I don't know what we talking about. So dude's talking about, I'll take that $300 million. I don't care what he says.
Fair enough. He'll take the money. Well, everybody knows there are things they can do to reduce monthly costs and improve their finances, but who has time to go through all their expenses and decide what to trim? With Rocket Money crunching the numbers for you, leveling up your money game gets way easier. And many of you listening or watching this podcast have probably heard a lot of ad reads from people that do not use the product. That is not the case with this read and this host. I use Rocket Money all the time. It has saved me thousands of dollars in canceled subscriptions I never knew I was still subscribed to that would have gone on billing me till the end of time. I use Rocket Money. It is an incredible tool, and you should too. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel all your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money shows you all your expenses in one place, including subscriptions you forgot about. If you see a subscription you no longer want, Rocket Money will help you cancel it. Rocket Money's 5 million members have saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, with members saving up to $740 a year when they use all of the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/openfloor today. That's rocketmoney.com/openfloor. All right, let's talk about what we saw happen in Dallas this week. Nico Harrison gets fired as the Mavericks GM. They were 3-8 at the time of the firing. They're 3-9 now. The offense has just been awful. Some of that's predictable. No Kyrie Irving. He was their shot creator. D'Angelo Russell has not been the answer for them at point guard. Anthony Davis has missed a bunch of time with a calf injury. Still out with that injury. 7-8 straight games now, being out of the lineup. I guess what I'd ask you as a player, like how, I've seen some quotes from some Mavericks players, and Jason Kidd talked about this as well, about just how deflating it was to be at home and to feel like the fans wanted you to lose. Like hearing the "Fire Nico" chants come up from the crowd. Like, how demoralizing would that be as a fan? And like, as a player? And did it just feel like to you that this had to happen for this team to turn the page?
Most definitely, because when it came down to it, you have to win 2 or 3 championships to not bring up the fact that you traded a 5-time first-team All-NBA 25-year player who just took you to the NBA championship the year before. Like, you know what I mean? And he's on an MVP run. This is something I don't think could ever bounce back. And I think when it comes down to it, you might have guys that's with you. You've seen the mafia movies. You might have guys with you on a hit, but then when it comes down to throwing a gun in your lap, everybody else moves back. And I think that's kind of what occurred with Nico. We forget, unless you go into a luxury tax super crazy, we forget how top heavy the NBA teams are now. So when you lose one of your top guns, your season's damn near over. Like, do you know what I mean? So when you lose Kyrie the year before, you're already climbing an uphill battle in order to have a good season. When you trade for an injury-prone Anthony Davis, even though he played at a high level and we don't want him to get hurt, it's like the second one of those dudes go down, it's over. So, like, you're already behind the 8 ball, i.e. Boston Celtics. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, like, it takes a lot to go in. So you're already playing with less room for error because you're meeting billionaires like shoot, back in the day, these teams was 250. Now you're talking about $6 billion? Like, I'm not giving one of these little kids $1 billion in 8 years. So it's kind of dang as you do, dang as you don't, because even when it comes down to college sports, like, the hardest job right now is being a college coach because you basically are a fundraiser. And you basically are just getting ran over and getting picked on. I just think the inevitable is going to occur based off injuries and based off just the elements. You weren't going to win regardless if your 90, 50, 40 guy was on the bench. Everything had to work perfectly. You went and got an old Clay when the people who love him most basically it's like, hey, he's love you to death, but we're trying to give him money to say we appreciate him. And y'all just said, yo, he's still clean. It's like, baby, this is a 2011 range. Them engines are made poorly. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's funny. Like, I think that by March of this year, the Mavericks could be playing exactly how Nico Harrison envisioned them to play. Like, I still think it's possible for this team to start cooking before the end of the year because AD's going to come back eventually, right? He's got a calf injury. They're right to be cautious with it. Calf injuries can often lead to other things. We've seen that. Kyrie, Jason Kidd has teased the idea of Kyrie coming back sometime in December. Even if it's January, you get a couple of months of Kyrie getting his legs under him. All of a sudden, you got your shot creator back. Cooper Flagg not playing well offensively right now, but you give him 3 months of adjustment. You get Kyrie playing alongside him. He could be playing a lot better. I actually think that the dream that Nico Harrison had could still be realized by this team. But it couldn't continue. It was way too toxic between Nico Harrison and that fan base. That fan base was never, ever, 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 ever going to forgive Nico Harrison for trading a 25-year-old superstar at Luka Doncic. They just weren't going to do it. And even if this team made a run in the playoffs, got to a Western Conference final, it wouldn't have mattered because barring multiple championships, this fan base was never going to forgive Nico Harrison for that. And I just think the toxicity of the relationship was just way too much for them to overcome. I would add that, like, I think ownership has to have a stake in this. Like, Patrick Dumont, you can't just bob your head and go along with the most idiotic trade in NBA history. Like, who thinks it's the right decision not to open up a Luka Doncic trade to the other 28 teams in the NBA? Who buys into this idea that the Lakers floated that they couldn't give up too much, couldn't give up multiple draft picks, couldn't give up Austin Reeves because Luka Doncic, you know where I'm going with this, because Luka Doncic might not re-sign.
Trade. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because Luka Doncic might not re-sign with the Lakers. Yeah, because, we've seen that. Like, nobody ever really wants to play with the Lakers, right? Yeah, nobody wants to stay in Los Angeles. Yeah. Crazy. If you're Patrick Dumont, you've got a stake in this. You've got skin in the game. You've got Luka Doncic blood on your suit, right? Yeah. Because you approved this trade, which, look, Nico Harrison cooked it up. Nico Harrison pitched it. Nico Harrison saw it through. But Patrick Dumont could have vetoed it. Patrick Dumont could have brought Mark Cuban to the table a little bit earlier. He could have talked to other people about this trade. This idea that they had to ram this trade home because it was the only way it was going to get done, that to me, E.T., was the nail in the coffin of Nico Harrison. They get Austin Reeves from the Lakers as part of this, maybe a different story. They get another draft pick as part of this, maybe a different story. But the fact that they rammed this damn deal through and Patrick Dumont just nodded his head and went along with it, that to me is part of all this process.
No, you're absolutely right. Even then, I don't care if you got 3 Austin Reeves that had 50 the other day, 4 first-round draft picks, like, or they gave you, like, that's Luka Doncic at 25 years old.
Here's this. Let me say this to you. Like, I was at the Laker-Thunder game last night, and the Lakers got thumped, and we'll get to the Thunder, who are freaking awesome. But, like, is there, including Cooper Flagg, is there any combination of players and draft picks that the Mavericks could trade the Lakers to get Luka Doncic back? I'd say no. I'd say there's nothing. There's nothing they could give.
Because nobody in their right mind would do that. They'd be like, hey, like at very least, we have a superstar that's going to sell out tickets. But then one thing that people always overlook that I thought, like, the casuals just shut the hell up. Like, we were talking about his body being out of shape, and he barely missed any games, kind of. Like, obviously he got hurt, but he barely missed any games. Then you go 3 hours down the road to New Orleans, and it's like, do you want to know what's out of shape? Respectfully, Zion Williams, but the guy that missed 70% of his game is playing for $200 million and barely sniffs the playoffs. Not the dude, 5-time first-team All-NBA, took you to the finals on a bad knee. And literally it's just like, yo, with all due respect, this is my time. You can call me a prima donna, call me whatever. But sometimes, bro, I don't feel like getting in shape until I'm ready to get in shape. This shit is easy to me. Go get me a real team. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, and I felt like when you don't appreciate people like that, you make dumb decisions. You understand what I'm saying? Because the first thing you look at, you can't be like, hey, who should go? The GOAT. He's got like the second best PER in history. And then when it comes crunch time or game sevens, I don't even know if he turned into Michael. He turns into Luka, apparently. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, and I love Nico, so I don't even want to diss Nico. I'm just like, come on, dog. This and then dude, that's just another, that's like me buying, like, when I bought like my Ferrari for the first time. I ain't know shit about cars. Like, literally, bro, like, it wouldn't work half the time. That's basically what Dumont did. Like, you know what I mean? He got the wrong guy. It's just like, I heard this was cool. Like, all my friends got one. Like, and that's it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Now, this new regime, such as it is, with Michael Finley in charge, Matt Ricciardi in charge, Mark Cuban back at the table. Mark Cuban back in. Just when you thought they were gone, they pull him back in.
Yeah,
Jason Kidd with a seat at the table. They now have, two options here. They can cross their fingers, hope Kyrie Irving comes back, hope Anthony Davis stays healthy, and keep down this path that Nico Harrison put them on. A path that, like I said, I still think could put them in the top 4 in the Western Conference. Or they could blow this whole thing up and build around the generational talents of Cooper Flagg. What do you think is the smartest path here for the Mavericks?
I think I see what you're talking about. They could be top 4. At very least, even if they came back and got a chance at a play-in game, a team of Kyrie Irving and
nobody wants to play them. Yeah.
Yeah, regardless. So I totally understand. I'm just giving respect to, like, will Kyrie's knee really be ready? And will he be ready to carry that load, to really come back after sitting out 7 or 8 months and be ready to be basically in midseason form, playoff shape, to get ready to go cook and go on a 6 or 7 month tear? I really don't know about that. The only thing I don't mind about them sitting out longer is I do believe giving Cooper more chances to make mistakes and even develop at a different level is, even you saw him versus the Milwaukee Bucks the other night. He had some big plays down the stretch, but I believe that could definitely help him. And if they do come back, they'll be dealing with, like, as opposed to a rookie, like a 19-year-old kid that might be closer to a third-tier wing. Then you can do something with that. And then you add in P.J. Washington, and then people aren't even talking about how well Max Christie's playing and also developing at a high level. He's shooting well. He's got Klay Thompson on the bench. So when you're talking about it, you're not even saying, like, if we're going to rebuild for Cooper, you also have a guy that's developed into a very elite 3 and D. Max Christie's playing elite defense. Shoot, nobody's hitting threes except for him, and he's showing that mid-range, but he's just stepping up, doing whatever you ask him to do, and he's had history being around some killers as well. So I think they have some good pieces. It's just like coming back in mid-season form in that Wild Wild West. Like, if we were playing a video game, I'd be with you, but like, nobody wants to see him in the first week of the playoffs.
Yeah, I guess it depends on, like, when does Kyrie come back? Like, if you're telling me he's coming back around Christmas time, I would say, you know what? Maybe there's enough time for him to get that knee under him, get his rhythm back, and maybe you can become that team that gets the 7 or 8 seed and makes a run that way. Like you're already like their defense is still pretty good. They're a top 5 defense, even with this crappy record. They're just so bad offensively. They're so bad in every single category.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Like only one dude made shots. Like open 3. Yeah, that's it.
The only one. Everybody else. D'Angelo Russell can't buy a bucket. Clay can't buy a bucket. Cooper Flagg can't buy a bucket. And right now AD's out. So I don't know. I guess it comes down to what they know about Kyrie's knee. When AD comes back, what the market might be for AD at midseason if there's teams out there looking for him. I think there's a lot of hard conversations that have to happen with this Mavericks brass. Then they have to decide who's going to be making these decisions, right? Like, is it going to be somebody?
He took a step back from the front office, right? Because he didn't believe in the direction they were going, correct?
Well, yeah, and like I think they didn't really do much to bring him into the fold. Like they didn't treat him like other teams treat their franchise cornerstone players. That's why, look, I floated the idea, and this is sort of an informed opinion that I'm putting out there, and I have been, that Jason Kidd could wind up in the front office. Like I don't think Jason Kidd wants to rebuild. Like Jason Kidd, he didn't go to Brooklyn to rebuild. He went to win. He didn't go to Milwaukee to build. He went to win. Coach and assistant with the Lakers, they won. Goes to Dallas, positioned to win. Like he's not looking to retool this thing. And if that's the direction they want to go, I could see Jason Kidd going upstairs, president of basketball operations type role, hiring his own head coach and building around Cooper Flagg and having a little bit more of a runway because you're not poisoned by the Luka Doncic trade. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the fans will love it. I think fans will love it as well. I think it'll give a little bit more energy into it. But at this point, you need guys that know ball. When you're trying to rebuild, you actually need guys that know ball. I know sometimes you put people who used to hoop in positions and they might have stunk it up a little bit. But when it comes down to this, and I always use this word a bunch, but you got to comprehend on how to build culture. And like a lot of times, I think there's people that got straight A's and might not always knew how to win out of a pack. Or like, you know what I mean? There might be guys that, and correct me if I'm wrong, they might got a 10-bagger in business, but it's like, you might not be able to know how to put together 15 alpha males, subtract here, put here, go there. Like, and I just think like Jason Kidd, I believe he can do some great things. Almost like what, obviously, the great Danny Ainge. You know what I'm saying? Danny Ainge. Unreal.
Knew how to put together a championship team, did it twice. So, yeah, you're right about that. So some tough decisions got to be made soon in Dallas. That's actually a good segue to the next topic, which is Oklahoma City. And you want to talk about a team that is put together the right way, that has a culture from the top down, that everybody is swimming in the same direction. That's Oklahoma City.
And they ask for the right amount of picks too when they go get when they trade.
You know that they have swap rights with the Mavericks in 2 years. They have swap rights with the Mavericks in 2 years.
And they're like, yep, go ahead.
They've got swap rights. Like, you want to rebuild? Go for it. Go ahead. Or they're probably saying like, you know what? You guys should try this year, try next year, and then when Kyrie's old and AD's broken, then you got to rebuild, and we'll take that swap pick going to you. But
somebody needs to get involved, like the FBI or somebody. Like there needs to be a RICO case against Sam Presti because it's literally like only person that can stop this is Brad Stevens. Like you know what I mean? And like even when you sit there, you're like, bro, you got what? Like they have a dynasty for like the next like. The only thing they need now is like the rest of the world cooperate and turn Oklahoma City into a big city. Like, you know what I mean?
But they've got like, I'm out here now, and I watched the last couple of games where they just blew the doors off the Warriors and off the Lakers. That like of the 8 quarters that were played in those 2 days, like half of one was competitive. Then the rest of it was basically garbage time. Like they crushed them. They are not off, Evan, to the best start for a champion. That mark goes to the the Warriors, who were in the 14-15 season started 24-0 or something like that.
The Lou Walton Warriors.
Yes, but they're there you go. They're 12-1 to start this year. They have the best defense in the NBA by a country mile. Like they are 6 points better than the Denver Nuggets, who are sitting in second place in terms of defensive rating. They've got an offensive rating in the top 5 as well. And they're doing all this without The
top 10
all-star, all-NBA third team, Jalen Williams, who was outstanding in the playoffs last year. They're doing most of it without one of the best defensive guards in the league, and Lou Dort, who's been out for 7-8 games with an injury. They are the best defense in the world without, the most physical defensive wing in the NBA and one of its best, and a guy that was second team all defense last year in Jalen Williams. This is the most impressive start to a season that I have ever seen because of those circumstances. And I wondered coming in, would this team be able to level up? I knew they were going to get better organically, but they have leveled up across the board. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander looks a little bit better. Chet Holmgren looks a little bit better. AJ Mitchell, we've talked about him a little bit, looks like the most improved player out of nowhere.
AJ Mitchell,
they're playing guys like when they put Brooks Barnhizer and Brendan Carlson out there.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's like, is this like part of a fan promotion? Like, let's just throw a guy like anybody out there and see if we can win, because they've got all these guys in the pipeline that are just ridiculous. Like Nikola Jokic has been out all season long. That's a former lottery pick who's eventually going to find his way back into the mix. But I digress. Like, the start to this season, what about Oklahoma City has impressed you watching them jump out to this ridiculous start?
One thing that impresses me is just like, it's like what they say it twice so I know you mean it. Remember when they took that loss, I believe, to Denver, and they were kind of in the playoffs last year, and I believe that everybody's getting upset because SGA and Jalen were kind of like sitting down, like laughing it off and like kind of more arrogant about it. And then you read the article about SGA saying like, man, after we won that championship, I was kind of upset because I felt like we could have been more dominant. Mm-hmm. And like, usually you hear those words, you're like, get the hell out of here. Now I'm just like, seeing like, wait, pause. How far can this go? Like, how good are they really? Like it's one thing to say like, are these, contenders or pretenders, but they look like they're geared up to run off 3 straight. Their team is locked in. They all get along with each other. We talk about a third team all NBA, without Jalen, but it's like Jalen's a top 10 player. SGA just keeps getting better every single night. Chet Holmgren shows up a couple nights ago. He didn't even miss. Like, I just think this one thing is a culture. The coach is coaching at a high level, but I think everybody is just empowering each other just to kill. You look at Wiggins, he's his own vibe. You look at Isaiah Joe, he's unbelievable. Like Isaiah Hardenstein, he's a problem.
Caruso.
And Caruso's only giving you like 15 minutes a game now because Mitchell's going crazy. I'm the same way we're sitting here talking about that, like Jokers is unreal. Like I'm speechless just even for the start of this season because they're missing Lou Dort, they're missing Jalen, and I think he's a top 10 player, and they're literally having no problem. And they've already had 2 or 3, dog fights that they started the season off with 2 double overtime wins and left off flawlessly and have not slowed down yet. This is just the pace they're at.
When I've watched them the last couple of games, the thing that I kept jotting down every single quarter was how defensively they are just on a string. They switch everything. They do it effortlessly. They play physical. They play the passing lanes. Everybody is just locked in. They've all got their arms spread wide. Like, they're getting deflections. Like, they are as connected a defensive team as I've ever seen. And they benefited greatly. Like, I think Hartenstein it continues to be such an underrated pickup because of what he can absorb physically. He doesn't force Chet's not there yet where he's ready to be a full-time 5. He's probably going to get there. He probably needs 2 or 3 more years before he can get there. And by that time, Hartenstein's contract will run out. You can play Chet as a full-time 5. But his ability to be the physical interior presence has been invaluable. And then Caruso comes in and is just like this savvy vet who can guard 5 positions and give you everything on that end of the floor while still making 3-point shots. I mean, if they're playing this kind of defense, nobody's touching them. Nobody is touching them. You have to hope that they're going to weaken somewhat defensively. And I don't know how you can hope that because Jalen's coming back eventually. He's already doing some light work on the court. Dort's coming back. They're going to get better on the defensive end.
No, it's scary. It's very scary. I think this year's for the reigning champs. You know what I mean? It's their trophy to lose because they They just keep getting better. They didn't have a championship hangover. They look like they might lose 16 games this year. Like,
yeah, that's the question.
Do
they win? Do they top 70 wins this year? That's the question.
I would want to say that. I'm not. I would want to say that, but then I also would be like, man, win 75 games. Like, you know what I mean? I would want to, but they're at that point now. What? We're 12 games. We're, you know what I mean? Like 15% of the way.
And the only game they've lost is that game in Portland, which is at the tail end of a wonky road trip where they had to go like 6 different directions to get there. And I think they played that NBC game, which started at 8 on the West Coast. They had to fly to Portland and play the next night. They didn't get in until like 4 o'clock in the morning. So like that's the only game that they've lost this season. I think it's in play. I just think they're so unfazable. Like everybody just buys into the role that they're being asked to play, including Shea. Like he's the most Jokic is right there too. I shouldn't say he's the most, but like him and Jokic, beyond their ridiculous talents, are the most selfless stars in today's game. Like if they don't get 30 or 35, it doesn't seem to bother them as long as they win the damn game. Like they got that. They're like that.
Yeah, I think that, and also too, media wise, they kind of just let it come to them as they may. They really are just only concerned about hooping. Like, you know what I mean? Like they literally don't chase clout. Only thing they're doing is just going on the court. Like Shea says, I get my 30, I go home, I leave. That's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I leave and
go
home.
it. No question about it.
That business, that OKC is scary. They're set up now for like the next 3 or 4 years. And last thing I'll say, when Hartenstein retires, hopefully, Chet isn't screaming at AD stuff like, no, I'm a 4-man, not a 5-man. I don't, you know what I mean?
I think he wants to get there. You know, he missed those 50 games last year with the hip injury. And that really cost him the ability to keep building that strength. He had a great summer, people around him have told me, and that's helped him get stronger. And I think he'll get to the point where he can play him all those minutes. But Hartenstein being there now is such a huge plus for them. Even if he's giving them 20-ish minutes per game, he's valuable there.
He's a big human, man. He just knows to keep his hands up and move his feet. Like that's it. And realize that walling up is going to do wonders for you in the defense. And he's manning up the defense. And anytime he's hitting that little floater, he's making himself a lot of money.
Yeah, and you don't have to let Chet, bang with Wembanyama, muscle up with, Jokic, all the great bigs in the Western Conference. You avoid that physicality, but they just send guys in waves at you. I can't get over AJ Mitchell, being the guy that he is. They're going to have AJ Mitchell under contract for the next 8 years because of how they do deals. And he's only going to get better every single year. It's really remarkable.
Like I said, you got Wiggins, Isaiah Joe. You have a lot of guys that get on that court. And you're like,
Casey Wallace played Luka incredibly well on Wednesday night.
Yeah, Casey Wallace always leads the game with 3 steals. I mean, they're elite. It's 48 minutes straight coming at you, and each quarter they're going to put together a string of stops and gain momentum like great championship teams do. I'm just wondering if this frenzy is going to get to the level of the Warriors, like frenzy back in the day.
I mean, they don't have the. When you say frenzy, do you mean
They're like the hoopla, just like the hoop? Nah, they don't have the Steph.
Nah, I don't think so. They're led by a bunch of Canadians and just a bunch of guys that are just hoopers. Look, they're just going to be great for a long time. And I think this year, I give them a good shot at 70 wins. I do. If I had to pick over-under on 69.5, I'm taking the over. I'm giving them 70 wins this year.
I'm not mad at that.
All right, last thing I want to get to is Golden State. I texted you on Wednesday that I want to talk about the problems Golden State's having. And, of course, they turn around and beat San Antonio in San Antonio off a back-to-back. Steph Curry's got 46 in that game, gets to the free throw line 16 times. He was awesome that night. Their shooters showed up. But the night before, they go into Oklahoma City in what was kind of one of those, let's see where we are type of test. And they get the doors blown off them. They get out-rebounded. They get outshot. They just get out-hustled. And some of the comments I heard coming out of that game, Evan, were alarming. Steve Kerr talking about the way that they're playing and that they're not crashing the way that they used to, which tells me that the effort isn't really there. Draymond Green suggesting that maybe some individual agendas were overtaking the overall team agenda of the team. Look, they're older at very key positions, especially with Draymond. They're smaller at key positions, especially at center. I mean, when Al Horford's out, you really don't have, Draymond can only play a certain amount of minutes at center.
That's it.
Yeah, Trace Jackson Davis can only give you a certain amount of minutes there. Against bigger teams, they're going to be in some trouble, and everybody in the Western Conference at the top is pretty damn big. So, great bounce back win on Wednesday against San Antonio. They badly needed that. But right now, they're a team hovering around 500. Did you expect them to be better? Do you see real causes for concern? What do you see when you watch the Warriors?
When I watch the Warriors, sometimes I'm always so shocked when I'm like, dang, I tell people every year they got a chance to win because I believe in Steph so much. So I look at the team, I'm like, bro, I can't believe, I'm not shocked they're not winning because it's not made up of a good team currently. They don't have any room for error due to their age and, they're so top heavy with, unique situations where, Draymond has to play a certain amount of minutes and you might be at a disadvantage in that sense. Or, if you want to play Buddy Hield, now you might be small with, Steph Curry on the court. Or every now and then, in order to get some type of energy going, you got to get Pozinski, who's still developing around Kuminga. I think this team is dangerous in spurts. Like you said, when you have players like Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Steph Curry, you don't want to see them for a week straight. You know what I mean? Especially when you have nights where Steph Curry can give you Game 7 Sacramento 50 points, or even when he just went to San Antonio. I know we've been on the Nuggets and OKC's top right now, but San Antonio has been playing at a high level too, and they're really, really good besides Wemby. They have they have a lot of good players. 1 through 8 or 9 is pretty good. So I think I wouldn't have them finishing in the top 4, but I believe they'll always be in position to try to win if they get the right type of matchup. You see, they got sent home early last year, and I just think matchup is everything for them, and they have to hit the right type of spurt. And the right type of spurt is getting Steph Curry healthy and getting everybody on that same accord and seeing if everybody's going to hit shots that same day. It's kind of like lightning in a pan right now, but you can bet on it a little bit more than any other thing, but it's not.
It's a little surprising given how they finished last year. They were 23-8 to close out the regular season. They beat Houston, which was the number 2 seed in the second round. They probably would have beaten Minnesota if Steph doesn't get injured in the conference semifinals. So it felt like they were coming back with some momentum. I thought Horford was a brilliant signing. You get Horford, he can still give you 20, 25 minutes per game at a championship level in the middle. I thought it was actually an upgrade over Kevon Looney, who really second half of last season didn't play a ton of minutes, but it just hasn't looked the same. And my big takeaway from watching the Warriors play is that the margin for error when Steph didn't play well was always pretty small. It feels like the margin for error when he doesn't play well now is non-existent. They need him. Maybe he doesn't have to give you 46, but he's got to be 30 plus every night, and he's got to be shooting at a pretty high level. He had the 46 against San Antonio, but kind of lost in that was he still isn't making 3-pointers. He was 5 for 16 from 3-point range in that game, and that's not something they can survive on a regular basis. So I still think Draymond can turn it up, in spurts defensively. I still think Jimmy Butler, it's the closer we get to the playoffs, that's when Jimmy Butler's energy just goes up a little bit more, plays a little bit better. He's always going to be dangerous in the postseason. But I don't like what I've seen out of Jonathan Kuminga overall. I don't like what I've seen out of Brandon Podziemski. The middle is shaky, is very shaky right now with the rotation that
you got Spencer. You got Spencer really shooting ball. You know what I mean? You look and you're God, back in the day, Iguodala was barely shooting. You know what I'm saying? Your top 8 was firepower. And when you talk about trying to put up 30 a night, you would believe it more if the chemistry to understand how to get Steph open was at as high level as possible. You know what I mean? Even in 2022, you remember the play in the corner when Gary Payton Jr. had a jumper and he passed it, no look to Steph. It's people understood on one accord why we're going. And I think one thing that occurs, or what they might be alluding to in the media, is just hey, we're all on our own agenda, and we're all being absolutely crazy on who we need to get the ball to, because let's get with the program. That's how it's always been. And I believe right now that ambition And sometimes that lack of communication is ruining chemistry of what made a firepower offense or allowed them to play with less air, because it was like, yo, this is Warriors basketball. We spoke on a culture. Now the culture is just like getting over there, and we're not worried about championships. We're worried about a young kid getting $24 million a year like they offered them for the past 3 years, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still see them as being a team that you don't want to see in the playoffs, but I also see them being a team that once again is going to have to get through the play-in to get into the playoffs. Like I think they're going to be in that mix. Right now they're sitting at 9, 7 and 6 to start the season. Look, I think Portland's going to wind up falling off. Phoenix is going to wind up falling off, but I was going to say Memphis might bounce back, but probably not. The Clippers, I think they'll play better as the season goes on. So I think they're going to be hovering in that 7-8 range at the end of the season. And, anything can happen in those one-game playoffs. Right. Like they might need to claw their way in through the play-in to get there. So it could be a similar type of outcome to last season.
Yeah, I think the energy is just like the little engine that could kind of, like, you'll be hoping for like a underdog type of situation more so than being like, yo, this is a guaranteed dominance. Because, I mean, like you said, the real problems is you're basically, if your 40-year-old goes out, you're basically 6'6" in the post, which is peace. And you see what Houston's doing. Steven Adams will get 48 rebounds.
They're huge. Yeah. I mean, but it's not just the Rockets out there. I mean, Jokic in Denver, the Twin Towers in Oklahoma City, the Clippers, with Zubac, they play big. Minnesota plays big. Everybody at the top of the Western Conference is playing big.
Not even top. Like Utah's big as shit. Like there's people that are like huge. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And you're no longer spring chicken.
No, it's going to take a superhuman type of season from Steph Curry to keep them in that top half of the play-in mix, keep them in the playoff mix all year long. All right, ET, I will leave it up to you to reach out to Reggie Bullock to ask him.
Get us there. Yeah, let me figure it.
Get us to Belize. Tell him we'll do a live podcast from his basketball court. We just need a couple of villas and we'll get to go.
Yeah, let me see if they got any comps or anything. All right.
Appreciate it, Evan.
All right, bro. See ya.